So something's been on my mind lately, that is, we see all these spray tags and graffiti all over Half-Life 2. From weird scribblings that hardly make any sense, to lemons and oranges. They are just there, they exist without anyone stopping to wonder why. And that one that looks oddly similar to the G-Man? Creepy stuff. So today is the day I try to figure out their true meaning. And so we are going to start with...
Gordon Freeman.
So obviously, first and foremost, we have the lambda tag. Note the striking resemblance to a human arm gripping a crowbar. Some might see a nofap symbol, like a human hand holding onto a human, python, or a garter snake, depending on your caliber. This graffiti is straightforward enough. The lambda tag is how the game teaches you to keep an eye out for supply caches scattered all over the world. Personally, I never really understood the in-game logic behind spraying these bright yellow lambdas to mark a supply drop nearby, or even a resistance outpost, because are you really telling me that no one in the entire Combine would have figured that one out and started raiding them? Like, you might as well just prop up a banner saying, "Here we all are, over here." Now, the caste graffiti is where things start to get a little weird, mostly because of how it's anyone's guess what it's really all about. Right away, anyone looking would assume that's a Combine soldier or a Metro cop cradling a baby in his arms, possibly abducted or taken away from their home. Except, there hasn't been a baby born in at least 15 years, which points out just how old this tag must be, dating back to when babies were still a thing. So a Metro cop stealing or taking away a human baby is something you don't really get to see by the time Freeman comes back, simply because there's no babies to be stolen. If anything, this tag must be referring to a time way back when the world had just been conquered and human babies were presumably targeted by the Combine. But why would a Combine soldier hold that baby like it's trying to protect him from something? Because unless I'm blind, that's not a big, bad, jackbooted guy in a gas mask taking away someone's kid. That's one cradling the baby, holding it close to its heart. But why? Is this a reference to some Metro cop at risk of being separated from his baby if he fails in his line of duty? And then there's that word, caste. Caste is a rigid system of hierarchy in some cultures where if you're born into certain caste, that's it, you're an inseparable part of it for the rest of your goddamn life. But do castes even exist in Half-Life? Sure, we have Combine bootlickers, and you could dub them as a caste of sorts. Then there is the Resistance, which is also a separate entity, a caste. I don't know, am I reading too much into it? I've done that before. And here we are. The Homo sapiens evolution cycle is probably the most straightforward tag in the entire game, leaving no room for error or confusion. It displays humans evolving from, great apes all the way up to the pinnacle of evolution, that is a transhuman, or in scientific terms, Homo sapiens combinus. I suppose it's only down from here, ain't that right, Breen? Some people might think that's a Metro cop, but no, that must be an Overwatch soldier. You see, Metro cops are just regular humans, volunteers. As such, they receive no mods, no surgical alterations, no nothing. It's not until one is promoted to full-fledged soldier that they start receiving various upgrades like memory erasure and additional physical upgrades. Also, it's got a striking resemblance to some real-life examples of racial propaganda, like this one from a 19th century edition of Harper's Weekly, showing things I really shouldn't be saying out loud because YouTube can be real anal about that. Also, this graffiti was conceptualized by Valve illustrator Eric Kirchner, this fella. The same guy we see as one of the male citizens in the game. Or an Overwatch soldier, that is after one has been stripped of his mask. Coming up next, we have a real mind boggle. Right away, we can see some oranges and lemons with what looks like footprints, or no, wait a minute. Those are bombs, aren't they? Now, some people might think that's a reference to Portal, another one of Valve's famous titles, and Cave Johnson's rant about life and lemons.
Alright, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
Or perhaps it's a nod towards that, famous nursery rhyme, oranges and lemons, the bells of St. Clemens, yada yada yada. But guess what? Everything doesn't have to be all mysterious and shit. A post by Matt Wood, one of Valve's level designers, cleared up that issue real quick. Turns out the whole lemons and oranges thing was just a joke, inspired by Matt's then girlfriend, Ran, who not only was a vegetarian at the time, but she also hated fruits and veggies, hence the bombs raining down on those damn lemons. No strings attached, no secret messages to be read between the lines, just like that. But what about those Cyrillic characters, huh? Well, they are just meant to read Ran, the girl's name, albeit in Russian or Bulgarian or whatever, but it's all messed up. Even I can't read that shit.
It's me. Open the door.
Shit, here we go. You see, this is where things turn down strange avenue once again. Unlike the caste graffiti, which shows up multiple times throughout the game, the umbrella man is the more elusive tag. This one is so strange and cryptic that, in fact, it gave rise to a whole urban myth called the interloper, which posits that this piece of street art shows up in one of the dark alleys in Ravenhall, but only on a very specific day, and it's got those odd glowing eyes. Now, it's a fun myth to explore, but it's also just that, a work of fiction, a gimmick, but a very well executed one, I'll give it that much. The alley is creepy enough in and of itself, and as for the tag, it's not there at all. Doesn't matter if you're playing the Steam version or the old 2004 build. The only natural occurrence of this one that I've been able to track down is on the wall at the Overwatch Nexus towards the game's finale. Even then, it makes no sense to be up there on the wall. Like, who sprayed it on there? And then, note just how much it looks just like the G-Man, minus the briefcase, of course. Now, the Born tag is where everything comes back together once again to make perfect sense. It depicts a raised human arm with a lambda stamped into the palm. Born is spelled out underneath to signify that a member of the resistance is born as opposed to being made like a combine soldier. It's based on a real-life 1931 movie called M, which tells the story of various criminal groups and police joining forces to catch a serial mass killer in a small town. Now, hold on just a second. Those strokes running along the wrist look oddly suspicious. Am I seeing things, or is that just a number, 411? If that's the case, calling 411 in real life only got me so far. This is what happened.
Hello? Is this Mount Massive Asylum? What's up? Huge ass here. Yeah, you guys are real jerks, just so you know. You tons of this. You.
Now, the resist graffiti may look like it's the simplest one to decode. I mean, what's there to decode, right?
Gordon Freeman.
It's just a stenciled image of Breen and the word resist, obviously implying resistance against the Combine and all that nonsense. But what if it's actually about resistance one's natural urges and instinct? I mean, we know Dr. Breen talks a great deal about that in his Breencasts. What if Metrocups have been spraying these all over the place, as a reminder to all citizens that evolution begins when one has truly embraced their resistance against natural urges? There is a few other examples of street art and graffiti in Half-Life 2, stenciled outlines of vehicles with the word heart in Italian. We also have 2 Metrocups and even one that reads Moz with the barcode 24724, which is the zip code for the town of Freeman in Mercer County, West Virginia. By the way, what a shithole. So if you're from there, from Freeman, West Virginia, I'm terribly sorry. Now, the rest of them to be found in the game are largely illegible and mostly just there for looks, if nothing else. But that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.
Should we be doing something?